talk, talk, talk a lot about it. Talk, talk, a lot about it. Talk, 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 talk a lot about it. Talk, talk, talk. Nice.
How does President Trump make...
Well, someone had to say.
How do you...
Talk and 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 talk and... How's it going? Oh. This channel is about how Donald Trump is my daddy. Nice, dude. Oh, God.
Back at home, more unhinged, meaningless rhetoric from elected Democrats. Take a look.
I wish people would look at the fact that you have a president of the United States who consistently is obsessing over two women of color that are members of the House.
All right, we've got Jasmine Crockett's full rant coming up later in the show. But just to be clear, this kind of vitriol is nonstop from elected Democrats. They literally have nothing else to offer this country. Now, of course, the most frequent smears involve some kind of...
Remember, Democrats always say stuff like, we need a strong Republican Party for this country to be great. Meanwhile, Republicans say this about Democrats all the time. If you talk to Republicans... Republican politicians, they have no healthcare plan for Americans. They have no plan for the economy. They have no plans for anything. Their only plan is hating liberals and hating things liberals do. It's actually kind of pathetic. It's very pathetic. And they need to lie to their supporters endlessly. When people call into my show, they believe completely fake things. They survive off fake things and hating other people.
Nazi or Hitler comparison, but on MSDNC, a shocking display of gaslighting. Nicole Wallace and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker agreed. Democrats, they've never, ever made such vile comparisons, that we made it all up. Take a look.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't
that
think
about...
any Democrat has. I actually... and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
I've never suggested that. I don't think any Democrat has. We're now reaching insane levels of total...
Okay, give us proof. What Democrat called them Nazis, okay? Give us the proof.
Dishonesty on
You're
the
on
left.
Fox
There's
News.
a disconnect from reality.
It's a lie? Okay.
Let's go back to the videotape. In fact, Governor Pritzker himself is constantly comparing the Trump administration to Nazi Germany. He does this almost every single week. We will remind him he must be suffering from Joe Biden-itis. Take a look.
I studied the Holocaust. I helped to build a Holocaust museum. This is what happened in the early days of the Nazi regime in Germany. Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. It doesn't take very long to tear apart a...
Just because he's criticizing a rising authoritarian regime and how they're copying the tools that like the Nazi Party would use to pull back constitutional protections just because he's making a comparison. He's not calling them the Nazis. He's just saying he's doing things that Nazis would do, okay? All he's saying is you're doing things they would do, and he's saying don't do it anymore. He's not saying you are that. He's saying you're doing things like them. And coming from the like Republicans who call every Democrat a communist constantly, not even making comparisons, okay? Just calling them communists outright. Not you're acting like a communist, or you're acting like here's a policy that you're doing that's threatening freedom, and you're acting like this. They just say they're communists. Okay? I know people don't care about that. Nuance, but...
Constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it in 53 days. And our democracy is almost as fragile. And we're seeing it right now. The danger...
And you have like Elon Musk, who was the most powerful person in government at one point. You have Peter Thiel, who funded the vice president's entire political career. They both have said that America is like the Weimar Republic in Nazi Germany, before Nazi Germany, the liberal democracy Germany had before it fell to be Nazi Germany. So we have Trump administration higher-ups comparing America today to Germany before the Holocaust and before Nazi Germany, okay? Comparing it, saying we are in the early stages of that system, saying democracy has exhausted itself. Okay, the people that funded this current government, the people that ran this current government, the people that still run this current government and have defense contracts with this current government, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk have said that America is, again, a liberal democracy like Weimar Republic in Germany, and it's falling, and it's going to be replaced by something. So they're the ones making more direct comparisons. J.D. Vance called Donald Trump a Nazi, but J.D. Vance decided to join him.
That we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. People have criticized me for talking about the Nazi regime.
Yeah, and Pritzker's talking about democratic backsliding and what signs we got to look for to make sure we don't head that direction. He's not saying you are currently Nazis. He's saying we are heading a direction where an evil force like that can rise eventually. He might not even mean the people in power right now are those Nazis. He can be saying that if we keep on eroding our institutions to this extent and denying elections and giving presidents immunity, then eventually a Nazi party could rise up in America. It doesn't need to be the current one. Nazi Germany took probably 10 years to develop to its full fruition. And there was a lot of time in the 20s where Hitler's party was gaining more power in the courts and everything in Germany. So, like, but again, people don't care about nuance, but yeah.
It's the one I know most about because I helped to build a Holocaust museum. This is what happened. People's rights started getting taken away. People got accused of being immigrants. This is before the Holocaust really took place. There are lots of authoritarians that I could...
That is true. There's some good books about this where Jewish people and non-Jewish people in Nazi Germany had to hide themselves and try to not stand out too much because no matter what, the government wanted to profile them and to say they were illegally in Germany. Because at one point, they just made it illegal to be Jewish in Germany. So they can detain you for looking like a Jew, or they can accuse you of harboring a Jew. Kind of like right now, if they accuse you of harboring an immigrant, they'll blow up your door. Like they'll blow up your front door.
Point to it happens that I know best because I helped build a Holocaust museum sitting next to Holocaust survivors about what the Nazis did in those early years.
No, I understand that.
I'm not talking about the Holocaust. I'm talking about what they were doing, taking away people's rights, arresting people, asking them for papers. Early on in an authoritarian regime, wherever it is in the world throughout history, this is what happens. It's the beginning of something very bad for our country.
I would prefer that Pritzker attacked the issues more directly. It's not a good rhetorical path to go down when you're just going to be like, this is what happens. It's always like this. It's like the historical examples. It's like when every dictatorship forms. Now, I say this sometimes, too, when I want to cite something historically accurate. But if I was on CNN, I would not be saying that. Okay, that's for my audience. That's for people who know, if you're in the know about it. But you need people to realize it's bad off of its face value. Okay, its face value. Comparing it to historical, if you compare it to Mussolini or Hitler or Stalin or whoever, because Trump operates largely like a Stalinist cult. Okay, he has a lot of nationalist, a lot of social, communist, whatever word you want to use. He has a lot of those impulses that's shared from authoritarian, some Pinochet. Like he has a lot of different influences with this stuff. Putin. It's gonna seem alarmist no matter what. You have to turn people's attention to what's happening right now and have it stand on its own and criticize it.
He's never used Nazi comparisons at all. And it's not just Pritzker. Pretty much everyone in the Democratic Party loves to throw around Nazi references. Take a look.
We have a Timu Hitler in the White House right now.
I don't even know what to call him.
Okay, well, she did call him Hitler.
I've called him so many things. But
well, a Timu Hitler.
This wannabe Hitler, for sure.
Comparing the tactics
Hitler.
of Donald Trump to Mussolini and Hitler is a very legitimate thing.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler or a Kim Jong-un. That's what he wants to be.
Is that not going too far to make a comparison between the President of the United States and the Nazis?
Find me a better analogy.
Well, Hitler was duly elected. That's right. Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they did.
As Trump literally, I'm sorry, but okay, if you make the comparison, they are literally right now, Ogles, a Republican congressman, multiple Republican congresspeople, and Trump are trying to denaturalize and deport Zoran Mamdani because they don't like his politics. They want to deport him, denaturalize him, take away citizenship. They want to put him in jail. They want to do everything to this person, saying he's a radical jihadist who wants to do another 9/11. That is Nazi shit. I'm sorry. That's authoritarian shit. That's 100% authoritarian shit. You can call it out as that. It's fascism. They want to deport every political opponent they don't like. Trump wants to deport American citizens. He wants to use U.S. cities as training grounds for the military. Luckily, the military is not as brain dead and authoritarian as Trump, hopefully. I know a lot of people. But they're kicking people out, ideologically. They're doing ideological purges of the military, of federal agents, which is also something authoritarian regimes do. But again, the messengers doing this are not the best. But if you want to make the Nazi comparison or an authoritarian regime comparison, that's fine. I don't even care. Because they're doing all these different things. But again, criticize the actions. Don't just say like, oh, this is just like the Nazis. It's weak sauce. It is weak sauce for Beto O'Rourke and Hillary and all these different people. Now, what Hillary's saying here about like, because people keep saying he can't be authoritarian or a dictator. He was voted in. You can vote in an authoritarian. You can vote, that might be your last election, but you can vote in an authoritarian. Like technically, like Hitler came to power through democratic processes. A lot of these people did. But they just never had another democratic process after them. So yeah, that is definitely possible. But in as far as messaging goes, it's weak sauce to rely on. Oh, it's just like the Nazis. And again, if I do that, yell at me because it's really bad messaging.
Didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
This is a very dark, vengeful time in the Democratic Party. In fact, that's why Democrats continue to shut down our federal government. This is all one big, angry Trump derangement syndrome stunt in order to gain some kind of political leverage. And they're saying it. Yeah, we know people will suffer, but we need the leverage over Donald Trump and prove that they can stand up to Donald Trump, the president they detest so much. Take a look.
Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use, it's gotten us focused on what we have to do to change direction on health care.
At the very same time, Democrats are once again lying about the shutdown. It's the Schumer shutdown. They're trying to blame Trump while voting 13 times to keep the government closed. Last week, they specifically voted against funding our military, brave men and women.
Remember, during shutdowns, usually both parties say, we are not going to use the military as a political football. Republicans are using the military as a political football. So they tied the overall shutdown to military funding. So if Democrats voted for the military funding through the Republicans' bill, it would have gotten other Republican priorities done. Democrats proposed to fund the military, to just pay the military and add nothing else to the bill. A clean, let's just pay the military during the shutdown. Politics is politics, but the military should not be involved in this. Democrats wanted to just fund the military. They did not tie political priorities to it. Republicans said, no, We don't want to fund the military unless if you give us something else too. Same thing with food stamps too. For the food stamps, for the food assistance, there's emergency funds Trump is deciding to not tap into on purpose because they want to pressure Democrats to the table. Republicans right now, and my opinion on all of this, the Democrats need to keep on going. They need to shut down the government as long as they will have balls for, okay? Republicans are going to purposely attack the American people. They will purposely not use funds to make sure people get food assistance and to make sure we pay our military. They are doing that on purpose because they want to use Democrats' good nature and morality against them, okay? Republicans want to hurt people, so Democrats feel the need to save them and to help them, which you know, it's very sad Republicans are like this. I wish Republicans would not hurt people for political points, but it's where we are. And right now we don't have a choice but for Democrats to maintain some type of power in this governmental system. If the standard is the John Fetterman standard, where you cannot shut down the government because some people might get hurt, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. But then you have no leverage. It's a rubber stamp on anything. They could pass any policy, they could pass any budget, then Democrats don't have a voice. Republicans will not even negotiate with Democrats. Republicans will not come to the table whatsoever. And in a government like that, you cannot operate. You have to just pause everything. If they will not negotiate, either get rid of the filibuster or negotiate. All right, keep the government shut down. There's no other path.
Put their lives on the line for us. Today, they specifically voted against funding federal SNAP benefits and food assistance programs. As of Saturday, they are completely out of money. That will impact over 42 million Americans. But according to one Democrat who voted to keep the government closed, it's all President Trump's fault. Figure that out.
There is nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42 million Americans, 16 million children, 8 million seniors, 4 million people with disabilities, 1.2 million veterans receive nutrition assistance in November.
All right, the American people, they're not dumb.
Someone in chat said Democrats are purposely using people as leverage. No, they're making sure Republicans actually negotiate. Republicans will not negotiate on anything. They will not negotiate. And they could open the government right now. If Republicans said right now we want to open the government, they would open it. They would get rid of the filibuster. They would get rid of the filibuster. And yeah. Trump could be funding food stamps and the military. They could be funding it, but they're choosing not to.
Everything will go back to normal if Democrats simply vote for a clean, nonpartisan, continuing resolution which funds the government at current levels. This is a crisis caused by the Democratic Party that said they were all against shutdowns. Schumer's whole career was against shutdowns. If Republicans, in fact, are actually surging in the polls as they are, well, let's take a look. 28 days into the shutdown, this isn't working for the Democrats. It's backfiring big time tonight. Take a look.
Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up.
Is my stream lagging?
Up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown.
All right. So why does the government remain closed? Well, the answer is pretty telling. Democrats aren't doing this for the good of the country or to be popular across the country. Instead, they are playing to their radical socialist base that wants to burn it all down.
Radical socialist base wants to burn it all down.
America into the socialist
yes,
utopia.
Chuck Schumer wants a socialist utopia.
Free buses, free housing, health care.
Free buses? Free buses? Holy shit. Bro, we are not a country that would do that for our people. We will pay for regime change in Venezuela for oil companies and for our authoritarian tendencies. We will pay for bombing Palestinian children. We will pay for cryptocurrency into Trump's pocket. We will pay taxpayer dollars for all of that. But giving free buses to people going to work, bro, that's a step too far. Now, European countries use their tax dollars to reinvest in their own people, all right, and people in general. They use tax dollars to help people. We use it to bomb kids. But of course, Fox News wants you to be mad about buses, not about the bombing kids, or not about the money we spend. They want you to be mad at buses, dude.
Whatever else Zoran, Kami, Marxist Mamdani is offering.
Yes, commie Marxist Mamdani.
Take a look.
Here is what we stand for, my friends.
Okay. Oh my God.
Hi, you reached 781-535.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, this is the politics show that is on
Hey,
YouTube.
Joel, how's it going, brother?
It's going all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's my second time talking to you. I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit, if that's okay.
Okay.
So my thing is, people saying Trump is destroying the economy. How do you feel about that? Just on your side. I'm just going through your brain.
So in Iowa, for example, Iowa's having their worst financial year since 2008, the financial crisis. It's actually worse than that, largely due to tariffs and other trade policies that Trump is doing currently to harm farmers there, and manufacturing is really declining in a place like Iowa. So I would say places like Iowa, you're going to see the biggest impact on his policies because it has to do with like materials, manufacturing, and then we lose trade deals with countries, so we cannot export our soybeans and other crops. So our farmers need a government bailout, and their economy's kind of falling apart. So I'd probably say that's a good, a good case example for what Trump's doing bad.
Okay, just like I said, just picking your brain here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So if the thing was that well, actually, first off, when did Iowa's recession start? Like that's the main part of it. Is it recently, or is it the previous administration?
There's been economic issues with the current downturn is recent due to the manufacturing costs. So like when Trump puts a 20% tariff on like, I don't know, steel or aluminum, that is going to increase all of those businesses' costs by 20%, and they just cannot compete or survive with that much of a increase in taxes.
Well, so the thing I just learned and the other day was that the tariffs really didn't kick in till around late August. So could that have that massive effect so soon? I just think, in my opinion, just greed has gone such out of controlness that they just heard the word tariff and everyone just jumped all over a way just to increase prices.
Well, when we talk about tariffs and investments, when you have a president who is very not even dumb, but just ego-driven, he's going to do whatever he wants. He's authoritarian. He has no Congress to guide any policy. He changes tariffs literally based off if he's PMSing or not. Then a business making a plan for their next year or 6 months or next few quarters or whatever, they're going to take that as a sign early to drop jobs off. They might just not sell in America or sell as much in America. And these are very complicated things. Like the process of getting aluminum to a factory in America is already a 50-stage process. Like it's insanely complicated. So there has been some tariffs that's been turned on or off or whatever else. And that overall disruption is just insane. So it's really hard to pinpoint how like every single area where this is bad, but it's generally bad policy for the president to just change tariff percentages based off his emotions every day. That's going to be a really bad situation for people.
Yeah, because like I said, my thing is like that I'm just trying to understand it. Maybe you can explain it better. They say not the economy, the stock market has been at its all-time high, and that everything's doing well. So if they make stocks go crazy, wouldn't that cause spending, or would that decrease spending, or would that cause people to pull money out of accounts? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, 80% of our stock growth has been from AI speculation. So there's probably going to be a huge bubble that pops, like the dot-com bubble, like when the internet was a big boy in the market, and all these different like new technologies in 1990s, 2000s were developing. So right now, there's a huge bubble ready to pop. Our economy is shrinking in all the areas that really matter, the bare bones, especially manufacturing. Like Trump is one of the worst manufacturing presidents in American history, but the AI bubble is carrying everything in the stock market. So that's really scary because we're not getting much pure materials off of AI. We don't get get like any imports. We don't really get much. AI is like gambling. We're spending all this money around, and the economy is moving crazy with AI, but we don't know if it's actually going to turn out any type of revenue or a profit or functionality. So yeah, the stock market is largely, it's like it's been this way for a while, but now more than ever, especially with how cryptocurrency is affecting it now, it's not a good indicator to go off of. But like I've seen, like Amazon is laying off 30,000 workers. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw UPS laying off like 40,000. I know some steel plants nearby. I know some trucking companies that laid off 10,000 workers. So yeah, all over the place, people are getting laid off.
I think the next big hit though, and that we're probably going to get hit AI with is shipment. Remember we had that strike with the whole shipment down like California and all the other places. China already replaced all those people with AI stuff. Do you think it's possible that's going to hit us too for this in that manner?
Well, when it comes to employment and shipping, it would be more like you add better AI. There might be a 5% reduction in overall employment, but the economy keeps on growing. So there will be more employment as long as the global economy doesn't collapse. We're going to need more people to do more jobs. But yeah, like even for management positions and logistics, you'll see 5% decrease, 10% decrease in labor force. It's not going to be a full replacement. It's going to be like before with a car factory, where instead of 10 people putting together some type of socket, it'll be like one person doing the job of 10 people, but with a machine assisting them, so it's not going to be a full replacement, but yeah, it's definitely going to have an impact.
Yep, it'll impact those though, because of that. It will decrease that person's pay, because now that the robots do a majority of it, that's how I see it, or you know what I mean? It's like when they try to bring on all the electric vehicles, right? People are like, oh, it gets rid of gas. Yeah, but you're getting rid of the person at the gas station that's gonna you're getting rid of the people that refine the oil. And then, me as an electrician, it takes just one person, I'd say like a small team, to handle the amount of solar. And then solar is great and all in green, but just after it's destroyed and you go to throw it away, there's realistically nowhere to throw it away.
It's you know what? The big issue right now is these conversations don't even matter because our government's not real. There's no debates happening. There's no conversations happening. So I still like these conversations, but yeah, it's hard because we can't even, it doesn't matter if we can't even, I don't know, every conversation is about some type of stupid ass meme from the internet,
In all seriousness though, on this thing, like just me complimenting you, of anyone I go on the phone and I just have a conversation with, you are the most relaxed person I have with. I want to fight with every other person, but with you, you just, thank you for your actually calmness. It's really good. But I do have one other topic. How about this?
Yeah, sure.
I think you brought it up just about 10 minutes ago about the deportations. Was that you they talked about that for a minute?
I brought up the Republicans trying to denaturalize political opponents to deport them.
Yeah,
that's what I brought up earlier. I don't know if that's what you meant.
Well, okay, so just in the manner of though, are you highly against the mass deportation, or I can't really call it a mass deportation because there's not that many really getting deported, but are you like highly against it, or like how would you solve that? A lot of people go, oh, just let them all live here, when technically you can't because the background checks and all those stuff.
Well, I think it's really funny, first off, that Republicans say immigrants are here receiving free healthcare, and also we don't have any tracking of them whatsoever. We don't know who these people are because there's no, it's a lie they're getting healthcare, but also how the hell are they getting healthcare with documentation if they're not tracked? And they want to say social security numbers. That's also a stupid point. Because they get social security numbers so they can be taxed because they also pay taxes. So like the whole perception on immigration is messed up in America right now. But like Obama deported tons of people. Joe Biden deported tons of people. Trump term one deported tons of people, and they all did it without having unidentified federal thugs in American streets tear gassing police officers and babies. The current ICE raids are actually Nazi stuff. Like it's insane. It's a lawless agency. They're going after high scores like ESPN Sports Center, and even for people who care about, like, I don't know, drug trafficking, they are disbanding drug trafficking units and child trafficking units to go after just Home Depot day laborers. And I don't know anybody in real life whatsoever. If you look at polling, or if you look at Joe Rogan's opinion, even like whatever that represents nowadays. No one wants to be going after random people who overstay their visa by 1 day, or trying to find. They're going to immigration court and putting a bag over people's heads and putting them in a van. Like, these people are going to immigration court to try to do it the right way, and they aren't going after any gang members or whatever. They're terrorizing American citizens. Like, the trade-off for I'd rather have no deportations versus having ICE do all this crazy shit. And my final thing is, like, I feel like the topic of sanctuary cities defines the problem with immigration really closely, because everyone wants to say sanctuary cities are going to encourage illegal lawlessness and migrants to come in America and destroy things. And it's like, sanctuary cities really makes things safer. Now, cities' crime rates are high. Cities are always going to have high crime rates, Republican or Democrat. It's the nature of cities.
No, but
there's a lot of factors for that.
The highest ones are Democratic cities. Like, you got California just has the insane crime rate. New York has an insane crime rate. Where else is there? Massachusetts has a friggin' high crime rate. It's all the areas where it's high Democratic sides, because it's like 1 minute they obey the law and 1 minute they're against the law. I think the problem with the Democrats, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The top 10 murder states are Republican states, though. Like, the states are Republican states, and cities, again, are going to have high crime rates, largely because the levels of inequality there, how expensive things are, the levels of poverty. There's a lot of reasons why, like, a city is going to have high crime rate. People are really, really close to each other. But just on the immigration point, the sanctuary cities. Okay, so, like, when they say sanctuary cities, it lets cops do their job. It lets cops go after actual criminals. That means that ICE cannot come to town and occupy your police force to go after random people at Home Depot to deport them. Sanctuary cities let cops keep people safe more so. And if you're here without documentation, or you might be brown and you don't want to get detained by ICE, it allows you to call the cops without having to worry about immigration enforcement coming to your front door.
The only problem is, though, is that a good amount of the sanctuary cities defunded the police. Well, I can't say a good amount, but
no, every city. Okay, what cities in America defunded the police?
I was going to say California, just pretty much all the state of California defunded. New York did the same thing.
Los Angeles had a huge increase for their police department. So did Chicago. Chicago reduced it for like a month. Then they did a huge increase. New York has a huge increase. These police departments are funded more than most militaries, most standing armies of countries. Like, we have more funding in these police for these police offices.
What? No, I'm just asking in general. Like I said, I enjoyed the conversation. So why are they such high crime areas then? Don't mind me asking.
It's like cities in general, the levels of inequality. Cities are more complicated, and that's why Republicans don't win in cities, because they can't handle complicated, like, political problems. They need to manage rural areas. And rural areas in West Virginia, for example, high crime rates, high poverty rates, high obesity rates, tons of problems. They live till they're like 60 because of all the problems in West Virginia, but they never get shit for it. But yeah, cities are complicated. There's a lot of inequalities and inequities, and a lot of even lead in the water can be a huge thing for cities, and social cohesion. There's so many factors that make a city's crime rate higher. But we need to really hone in on, like, what the logical thing is here. But when it comes to the police, funding police more, there's actually evidence that funding police more can create higher crime rates.
Well, actually, the other thing I just thought of just now, though, right? Say when they do have, supposedly more police, like you say, but the major part is, and what they need to change the issue is holding them accountable in jail. Just like, don't mind me saying, just bringing it up, like the black dude that stabbed the Ukrainian girl, he was arrested 14 to 18 times. Between that, I'll just say 16 in the middle because it's just an odd number. Arrested 16 times and just keep being released.
Well, that's a good example of my issue here, is that if you fund police too much in these areas, police do not prevent crime. They come when the crime already happens, okay? So if we talk about that person, they needed severe mental health intervention, and those programs were not funded. Okay, so if you fund police and you don't fund education, and you don't fund a clean water supply, and you don't fund a food supply, and you don't fund housing, if you let the entire area decay, and you only cater to the ultra-wealthy who drive up the cost of housing even more so, and the cost of living, if you fund police too much, now I'm not anti-police, I'm very pro-police on the left. I actually spoke out against defund the police. But if you fund the police and overfund the police, and you make other resources extremely suffer as a consequence, and we need to hold police accountable as well. Like, for bad cops, we gotta make sure they're held accountable 100%. But yeah, if you overfund police, you defund other avenues where if you don't have sufficient soil for people to grow in and prosper in, there will be a high crime rate if there's nowhere for people to prosper. So like that's the big thing with
like the
police. They come
prohibition,
after the
right?
crime's already done. It doesn't prevent anything. And if you want to, I would always choose preventing crime through funding education more, through funding all these different things more, because funding police to prevent crime, eventually turns into a surveillance state. And I'd rather rely on us as communities and as neighbors and as humanity to lower the crime rate rather than have a camera watching us 24/7 to make sure we don't do something the government does not approve of, is my big issue. Because China has a low crime rate. But they also have no freedom.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, but they do need a level of balance. So, like you said, if there's too much police, right, that's one thing also. But then also enforcing the laws at a better standard. I'm not saying a heavy standard and automatic, maximum punishment, but on an equal standard instead of just being lenient is kind of what's crushing us too.
Well, if you want to have this conversation longer, I appreciate the call. This is around a half hour. I want to get to some others, but I do appreciate the call, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. It's always good to talk to you, and I just keep on listening. But you have a good night, all right?
Yeah, I'm sure another caller will pick up the topics you were going to talk about too. But yeah, have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Oh wait, it was 15 minutes. I was talking to him, not a half hour. Crap. I was recording for a half hour off my other video. Why don't Democrats talk bad about Republican states?
Jola, it's your boy tonight with Kyle. First of all, you are dropping frames. It's very slight, but you are lagging just a little bit.
Dang it.
Second of all, when we're talking about crime in cities, crime is a product of proximity and poverty. The reason that there are more crimes in cities is because there are just infinitely more people there. You're going to have more crime in a city of hundreds of thousands of people than in a town of like 10,000 people.
Explain per capita then, Kyle.
Explain per capita? Oh man, you got me there.
Really expensive. A lot of people suffering from a lot of issues, a lot of stress. They're also right next to each other 24/7. They're forced to be crammed into ghettos. With no opportunities, that they're around each other very closely. In the rural areas, they'll just be alcoholics or be on opioids. But in the city, they might do other things to cope.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are more people. There's more opportunities for these people to actually be caught up by the police because cities do fund the police. There are police everywhere in cities. I think there were like 2 Democratic cities who started to roll back on their funding for police and then immediately started funding them again because they found out that that was a bad idea.
Christopher Nettle, dumbass. You realize you're a dipshit. He said they chose to live there. You realize that I know racism makes you people piss yourselves and shit yourselves because you're such a pussy. But like when we talk about black people in ghettos and cities, they did not choose to live there. Okay, white people abandoned cities when black people moved in. It's called white flight out to the suburbs, and then black people were forced in these positions where there's no money, no jobs, no nothing, coming out of Jim Crow, coming out of slavery, coming out of Reconstruction, like coming out of all these different things. That's one reason we have the issues we do in these cities, that there's generations and generations of people there who have been pushed down by our government. Okay, the government saying screw you black people. But people that are in these positions, they did not choose to live there, believe it or not. Look up redlining, all this other shit your dumbass can't read.
They also didn't choose to live there because that's where the jobs are. I mean, I hate to break it to you guys. I live out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere country, and there are no jobs around me. I have to drive an hour and a half to get to my fucking job.
Damn. That is tough.
So, like, they're not choosing to live there. They're living there because that's where the jobs are. That's where the opportunity is. The opportunity is in these cities. There is no opportunity out in the middle of rural fuck nowhere country.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna reset the stream because I'm dropping frames. But yeah, Ellie for $10. Thank you so much. Funding the police without from Venmo on Venmo. Funding the police without preventing that funding from buying tank-like trucks or overtime abuse. It's just a waste of time. Your girl Kelly R in chat. Thank you for $10. Yeah, that's true
also
as well.
another big thing. That's also another big thing. That's a big misconception about the defund the police movement. It's really bad wording. It was the worst way to fucking put it, because the idea behind defund the police wasn't about getting rid of the fucking police. It was about demilitarizing them. All of these police stations have fucking Humvees and crazy militaristic abilities that they probably shouldn't need on the regular.
Yeah, from Iraq and Afghanistan after the war, we sold a lot of our military equipment to police departments around the country. And also, like, New York City, their police are their own military. They have their own intelligence agency. They do intelligence operations with Israel as well. They actually do joint training, which is really interesting to look up. They have robot cops as well, similar to what China has. So, like, these police departments, there's not an issue at all with their funding. And like I said before, there's a liberal way to lower crime, and there's a Republican way to lower crime. The Republican way doesn't work. It just takes away freedom. But the liberal way works more gradually, and it takes actual effort. And like, I hate the whole point of, like, it's like criticizing an NFL quarterback for not passing the ball right. Like, when they talk about Democrat run cities, like, Republicans cannot run an area that complicated. The place falls apart. That's why they never elect Republicans there, because the shit does not work. They probably, if things are really that bad in these cities, they would probably elect the opposite party, but they don't do that for many reasons. All right, I'm gonna reset the stream. Thank you for joining us. This is our mod, Kyle, who asked me to play the one meme that I'm not gonna play of the dancing toothless. But...
Play it. Put on the dancing toothless meme. It's what the people want. Everyone in chat, start spamming for the dancing toothless meme. All right, well, I'll let you restart the stream. Good talk.
All right, restarting it. Thank you. I'm restarting my stream. You can call then. You can call back then. Nice. So Shreveport, Louisiana, which is Mike Johnson's district, has a Republican mayor. They have 27 homicides per 100,000 residents. They have a higher crime rate, like twice as high as Oakland, California. They have the same crime rate as Washington, D.C. in this Republican. States that voted for Donald Trump have a higher violent crime rate than states that voted for Kamala Harris as well. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to reset the stream for another half hour.